The put into command is particularly important within Alexia BASIC. So here's an example. We're going to start off by using the put command to put hello world into list box 1. Then we're going to put the system variable month into list box 1 as well. Now, with respect to any list box user input variable, anytime you add data such as hello world into list box 1 and then proceed to add another value into any list box, what essentially happens is that the data that was previously entered into the list box remains there, and the next piece of data simply gets added to the list. That's in contrast to user input variables, word boxes, and number boxes. So for example, when we input data into a word box, what is essentially happening is that the data that we're inputting into the word box is placed into that word box and stays there up until another value is added to that same word box. At that point, the previous value is overwritten and the new value is what is inside that particular word box or number box. That is not the case with list boxes. In the case of a list box, any new data simply gets added to the list box, so keep that in mind. Now, next, we're going to put the system variable day into list box 1 as well. So in summary, we're adding some free-form typing in the way of hello world into list box 1. Then we're going to add the system variable month into list box 1. And then finally, we're going to also add the system variable day into list box 1. Next, we're going to put list box 1 and all of the contents inside list box 1 into the user input variable word box 1. Next, we're going to put the number 35, so of course this is a numerical value, into number box 1. Then we're going to put the system variable math, which contains an equation here, into number box 2. Now, the equation that we're essentially asking Alexia BASIC to place in the number box 2 is first 34 multiplied by 10, then you get a result divided by 20. And then that response is going to be put into number box 2. Next, we're going to put word box 1 and the contents of word box 1, as well as number box 1 and the contents of number box 1, as well as number box 2 and the contents of number box 2 into word box 2. Finally, we're going to print the contents of list box 1. We're then going to print a couple dashes, and then we're going to print the contents of word box 2. So let's go ahead and click on the cast button. We're going to run this spell and see what happens. We're going to be looking for the result here in the emulated computer screen window. So here are the results. First and foremost, we're getting a printout of list box 1. So list box 1 contains the system variable hello world. It also contains the system variable October. It also contains Wednesday. Now, here's an interesting little nuance that bears pointing out. In a previous Fast Start Guide video, the list box 1 user input variable was used. However, that list box variable was never emptied. As a result, we're actually seeing a value that had been previously entered into list box 1. So if you'll notice, in this particular spell, we put hello world into list box 1. Then we put the system variable month, which would be October, into list box 1. And then we placed the system variable day, which happens to be Wednesday, into list box 1. So these were the three values that we put into list box 1 as part of this spell. However, in a previous spell that had been cast through Alexia BASIC, the date and time system variable had been placed into list box 1. And this is what happened. Because we did not use the empty command to empty list box 1, the date and time was still included, and there you have it. October 11th, 2017. And then you see, of course, the time, which happened to have been 1900 hours and 54 minutes and 28 seconds. Now, we see the dash mark, which of course we asked that Alexia BASIC print in the emulated computer screen window. And then we have a printout of the contents of WordBox 2. Now, WordBox 2, as you'll see up here, right, included the contents of WordBox 1, NumberBox 1, and NumberBox 2. So when we do a quick refresher of what was included in NumberBox 1, we actually see that the number 35, the numerical value of 35, was put into NumberBox 1. Then we took this mathematical formula and put it into NumberBox 2. Now, what's interesting is that then we put WordBox 1, NumberBox 1, and NumberBox 2 into WordBox 2. So WordBox 1, NumberBox 1, and NumberBox 2 into WordBox 2. But what happened? The only data, the only piece of data that was actually printed was the contents of WordBox 1. What essentially happens is that when we attempt to combine multiple user input variables within the same put command, what ultimately occurs is that the very first user input variable that we list within the put into command, as is the case here, you see WordBox 1 is the first user input variable that's being mentioned, right, in this execution of this particular command on this line. That is ultimately the only piece of data that gets put then into, for example, WordBox 2. So this is a critical piece of information that you need to keep in mind whenever you choose to put data, be it data that you're manually entering through the form of freeform typing, as is the case here, where we're putting the numerical value 35 into NumberBox 1, or in the case of placing a system variable, such as the math system variable into, for example, NumberBox 2. Anytime we attempt to place data into a user input variable, we need to bear in mind that when we're trying to place multiple pieces of data into a new user input variable, it's crucial that we only utilize one either freeform typing value, one system variable, or, as is demonstrated in this line right here, one user input variable. Now, for example, let's make a change to this. Let's actually remove WordBox 1 and let's remove WordBox 2. So what we're essentially now placing into WordBox 2, I'm sorry, we've removed NumberBox 2 a moment ago. So what we're essentially doing is placing now, or putting NumberBox 1 into WordBox 2. Now watch what happens. Let's just go ahead and add a clear screen or CLS command up at the top. We're going to go ahead and cast this revised spell. And as you will see in a moment, now we have all of the data that had been previously accumulated in the list box 1, plus the new data which we added in the list box 1. All of this is now concentrated into list box 1. That's why when we print list box 1, now we have even more data that's showing up inside of list box 1, and that's because the data that was previously added when we cast this spell remained in list box 1, and then on top of that, this new set of data, which largely mimics what had already been in there, was added to list box 1. One little caveat or one little change is that now it is Thursday. So as it turns out, just while this fast start video was being created, the clock ticked past 2359 minutes, right? So we went now into the 0 hour, which of course is midnight, which means that a new day has begun. And so as a result, we see the system variable day producing Thursday instead of Wednesday. Now, when you look down here to where it says print WordBox 2, well, now the contents of WordBox 2 is simply the number 35, because after all, that is what we added into WordBox 2. See, put number box 1, which of course corresponds with putting the numerical value 35 into number box 1. That now is what is being added to WordBox 2. So we put number box 1 into WordBox 2, and when we print WordBox 2, we see the number 35. Let's do one final thing here. Let's go ahead and add empty. And this is a command we have not spoken about yet, but we're going to go ahead and type in empty all. And of course, this is case insensitive. We could type this in any way we choose. So we're going to clear the screen, and then we're going to empty all, which means we want to empty all of the user input variables, and then we want to go through the spell as it exists right now. So let's go ahead and click on the cast button. We're going to see the emulated computer screen window be cleared. The variables themselves, the user input variables, are going to be cleared. And then this is going to be the result. We're going to have hello world, which corresponds to the first piece of information we had to list box 1. Then we're going to see the month of October, which corresponds to put month into list box 1. So there we have it. And then put day into list box 1. And right now, as this is being recorded, the day is Thursday. So all this other data that we are adding into number box 2, and of course then down here we see adding, or we're going to put number box 1 into word box 2, and then we're going to print word box 2. So there we have it, 35. Now let's just do one final little change here. We're just going to go ahead and switch this up so that we're no longer putting word box 1 into word box 2, but instead we're going to put number box 2 into word box 2. And we're going to see if that is actually the computation that is taking place here. So once again, we're going to go ahead and cast a spell as it has been revised. We're going to see the emulated computer screen window be cleared. Now we're going to go ahead and see the results. And so we have hello world, we have October, we have Thursday, we have the dash, then we have the number 17. So when we multiply 34 by the number 10, we get 340, and then when we divide 340 by 20, we get 17. So everything computed as it should, and this gives you a somewhat better understanding of the put into command within Alexia BASIC. Thanks for watching. Now please subscribe to our channel.